Welcome to Booze Bazinga, Season 2, Episode 2. Now, Season 1, we did, 3 episodes that we were talking about? Things?
Was it even that? I don't even know.
3 or 5.
Very different format to what it's going to be now.
Yeah, so because you used to live around the corner and we used to just sit in your lounge, we're now doing this on Skype because we've both got families and stuff to deal with. So, whenever we can jump on a Skype call, we will talk about something in the sort of comic book movie, geeky culture, spacey, computer stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that we find interesting. And in this show, we are talking about our highlights and lowlights from the MCU so far. Just so that we have a sort of waypoint here, we've both watched Endgame, yes?
Yep.
Cool. We are going to try and keep this video reasonably spoiler-free for the MCU, but we certainly won't spoil Endgame, I think.
Should we say spoiler-free for Endgame, spoilers on everything else, because that's fair.
Yeah, we can mention other stuff, but I don't think there's going to be a massive amount of spoilers anyway. But we're just going to give you our rundown of probably our favourite movies and why, and the ones that let us down a little bit, and potentially why as well. There aren't many letdowns in the MCU.
Yeah, I think let's face it, the only real letdowns were the first 2 Thor films. They were bad.
I don't think they were bad. I just think they were different. It was a very different tone. But we will come to that anyway. So let's start with something. No, in fact, yeah. Do you want to start off with your letdowns? Do you want to start off with Thor films and tell me why?
Thor is a weird one because although I really disliked the first 2 Thor films, I thought they were awful. Thought there were good aspects, and then there were bad aspects, real bad aspects. Mm-hmm. But then I thought the third film, Ragnarok, was my highlight. That was my favourite film of the lot.
Yeah.
I think they finally nailed him in that film with his comedic timing. I think they knew how to bounce characters off each other better. I think if it wasn't for Loki in the first 2 films, which, that would have ruined it, because I think hands down Loki was the best for a long period anyway. He was the best villain that we'd seen in any superhero films.
And I would even say he's barely even a villain. He's more of like an anti-hero. He's like a Deathstroke almost, because he's not trying to rule the universe in most cases, but yeah.
He's an anti-hero you can't trust.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if it wasn't for Tom Hiddleston in those films, they would have been awful. I think Chris Hemsworth did a fine job. I think he did the job everyone expected him to do. They expected Thor to be the serious, righteous character that spoke with, Shakespearean tones and talked about. But then when they put that comedic timing into him and let him kind of be funny and let him take control of Thor's character a bit more, I thought that's when the films got really good. Mm-hmm. There was a few things, and I love Natalie Portman. I think she's great. I thought Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman's characters in these films were just static. Mm-hmm. Didn't think much happened with either of them. The love story kind of come in, could have been a big thing, then it was nothing out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I think that Natalie Portman sort of signed up to do them and then didn't really want to do them, because otherwise we would probably be seeing Lady Thor right now.
Yeah, because that's where we all thought it was going, didn't we? The first Thor film, I think we all thought that was going to be the case, and to be honest, that's quite sad that we didn't. There was a couple of things that I'm sad we didn't see. I'm sad we didn't see Lady Thor. I'm sad we didn't see Beta Ray Bill.
He is pegged to come soon, I think, in as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, if we don't see him, I'll be really upset, because they obviously put the Easter egg of him in to, which film was it?
It was one of the Guardians, I think, was it? Or was it Infinity?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It was the first time that we saw the Collector's Room, wasn't it? So it was the Guardians of the Galaxy were there. Anyway, they teased him there. Although I think they said it wasn't him, but it was.
Yeah.
And then obviously they brought Stormbreaker into it, and so all the components are there for them to do it. They just need to bring him in. But I suppose that it'll be a CGI piece, wouldn't it, for him?
Yeah.
There's not really any way that they can do him full justice without it.
Well, I think they can manage that these days, though. Hulk's looking pretty good. Thanos looked pretty good.
True, yeah. I mean, it's come a long way since the first Thor films.
Toy Story's pretty good.
Toy Story. But yeah, I think for me the first two Thor films were the real big standout letdowns.
Okay.
I mean, it depends if you want to include the Hulk into it, but I think that wasn't made by Marvel, so I'll let them off for that one.
Yeah, it was a Universal movie, but then the character that we've got now for Bruce Banner, played by Mark Ruffalo, is supposed to be that same character because we had the same Thunderbolt Ross and stuff, right?
Yeah, because they brought him in right after one of the films, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the cameo.
Mm-hmm.
I think highlight for me though, Thor Ragnarok every day. I thought the way that they integrated. I wanted a Hulk, a Planet Hulk kind of storyline. I wanted that for ages. I thought, taking him to Sakaar, but I never knew how they would get around it. Obviously, with the licensing rights and the standalone Hulk films work. I think they could now that they've fleshed him out a lot. I'm not sure if I like how far they took him. I think
with the Professor Hulk.
Yeah, like, was it Professor Hulk? What did they used to call him when he had the hat and the cloak and stuff?
I don't know.
It's a really old reference. I can't remember. There was a period where he was like a mob leader, gang leader, and he used to wear like it. And anyway, he had same as what we saw in the last film. But anyway, I just thought they took a bit too far with that. But I thought where they had him in Thor Ragnarok was spot on. He had some intelligence, he had some words, but it was still the brutish Hulk that we all want to see. But he could just control it. Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, in Thor Ragnarok, the highlight for me was Taika Waititi's character.
Cool.
That's it. He was so funny every time he came on screen.
Yeah, I thought bringing New Zealand humour.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not seen much New Zealand stuff, and I've never heard of Taika Waititi. Never seen a Taika Waititi film until this. And I do think you are complete. And even we've seen the character again since. I just think that character really elevated everything. It was like having off Thor.
Yeah, it was like having Flight of the Conchords in a Marvel movie.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just so funny.
And I think with the new way that they set the tone from the get-go in that film when he was hanging in the lair and he's just turning, and then as soon as he goes, oh wait, and then you have to wait for him to wiggle his way back around. They set the tone so well. And then it comes in, the music comes in. I can't remember the soundtrack, but that music kicks in, and it was just like, yes, this is what we've been waiting for.
And the Goldblum.
Yeah, I mean, it does help. Don't get me wrong. Looking at the film, how many big actors they had, how much build up there had been, but I think it all would have been wasted if they hadn't got Thor's character right by this point. I think they'd obviously played with him a bit more with his humour in the other films, and then when they kind of got there, it's like that scene in the Avengers where he's talking about random like animals from different countries and different worlds, and then they mention monkeys, and Captain America's like, I get that reference because it's finally something that he understood. I think they balanced him off. Steve Rogers became the more straight-edge, boring character of the lot. Mm-hmm. And, he was originally billed as the fun-loving, straight edge, but he was more charismatic.
Yeah. So I'm just looking down the list now because I'm just thinking, what are my lowlights? And I'm struggling, to be honest. I think I'm going to have to point to things like I wasn't that excited about the Ant-Man movies when I saw it. Again, had some really fun segments. Like in the first Ant-Man movie, that final fight with Yellow Jacket, where they're fighting around Thomas the Tank Engine toy trains. was fabulous. I really like the Ant-Man character. I just don't think that the whole movie in itself worked as well for me.
For me, I thought the Ant-Man one was almost, like, obviously it isn't separate to the universe, but it had a different tone, different feel. I think obviously a lot of the directors chopped and changed. Like the Russo brothers started doing the Captain America films, and then they died around and did a couple others. So I think that kind of helped bring them all to one. But the Ant-Man films were very much always
slightly apart,
different feel. It was less. No, I don't want to say magical, but it was less amazing. You know what I mean? Because it was more street level stuff. His character could have fit better into what they're doing on Netflix. Because his powers, although his powers are a bit more flamboyant than what they're doing in the Netflix series, but it wasn't too dissimilar. Whereas when you compare him to, you know, all the other characters that they've built up over all these years, he did kind of seem a bit powerless.
Yeah.
But then I suppose.
Yeah, I know for a lot of people as well, there's a lot of people that aren't that into Iron Man 3 because of what they did with Mandarin. I really, really liked Iron Man 3 because it was more, it was a Tony Stark movie rather than an Iron Man movie. Because they sort of stripped him out of the armor. It was all about the PTSD that he got from what had happened with Ultron, which I think was probably the weakest of the Avengers movies. That being said, when you rewatch it, it's actually really quite good.
Well, it wasn't with Ultron, was it? It was with the when he used the black hole.
Oh yes,
wasn't it? Because he went through the black hole, wasn't it? Do you know what? I agree with you actually. Like, yeah, there were parts of that film that I think was a bit lackluster, but it was that emotion. You're right. Like, I think that was the first time that we properly saw the effects of what this can do and the emotion. I think they chose the wrong catalyst. Like the going through the hole and him exploding the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
I think they didn't make it in the because it was just part of the battle scene, wasn't it? In the original film. I think they could have built that up a bit more. Had there been a bit more serious things at the end of that Avengers film, that obviously they ended on him going for shawarma, so he was fine. But I think had they have shown him shook up at the end of that film, that would have led to it a bit better. Because at the end of the film, like I said, he went for shawarma, he was fine. So I think that's probably why people were a bit like, hang on, why is he like this now? Like, because we've never seen that side of him, but I think they hadn't set it up perfectly.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that the problem people had with it was that it was like depressed Tony Stark. I think more people were annoyed, certainly from the comic book fan side of things, about what they did with the Mandarin, because the Mandarin should be this almighty. But then I think they've kind of corrected it with a one shot where they've said that he wasn't the Mandarin and neither was Killian. So there is actually still a Mandarin out there. But now I'm not sure what they're going to do with the Mandarin now that Tony, you know, what happens to Tony.
I thought the Trevor Slattery, is it Trevor Slattery? I can't remember his name.
Trevor Slattery is the character, yeah.
I thought that was genius.
So did I.
When he
really
gets him, when he finds him in his bed and he's just like, it's just an act. And he's like, he's a bit of a nut job actor. Like, he's just funny. Did I think, the Mandarin was a bit weak? Yeah, I'll agree with that. But he didn't ruin the film for me. Like, I think, you know, the scene where he's in the snow, he's crash landed after his suit after Jarvis took him on a flight, crash lands, and he basically, his relationship with that boy that kind of grows, and like, I just thought the emotion was there for that film. And it's the kind of film, like, it was a Christmas film in my eyes. Like, it just hit. And I think a lot of people that were going to see this were going to see stuff get blown up by a guy in a suit of armor. And I think that's not what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become. I think we're all attached to these characters now. We've known them for how long? Like, I think that was the first part of us seeing the bigger picture. It wasn't
Yeah.
just Iron Man 3, let's blow up some more stuff. And I think that's probably where the hatred came from.
Yeah. Okay, and so I think on to a bit more of my highlights, because you said your biggest highlight was probably Thor Ragnarok. Now, I'm not going to include the Avengers proper movies in this, because they're always highlights, because just the amount of stuff that goes on. And I still kind of think of Captain America Civil War as being Avengers 2.5, because of the amount of characters they brought in, even though it was still a very Cap-centric movie. But I think Captain America Winter Soldier is probably one of my favourite movies, because it was more spy thriller, with him and Black Widow going through, uncovering all the Hydra stuff that had been going on all the way through. And then when they call back to that during Endgame, I don't think this is a spoiler anyway, but they call back to the elevator scene. And he just does the little Hail Hydra. That was just a wonderful little moment.
And as well, obviously, into the comic books, because they turned him into a potential Hydra agent for a bit, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah,
really
exactly.
Good. I agree. I think the scenes that stand out for me on that one is because the Russo brothers at their finest, that was. And I think the scene for me that really blows out of the water is when they're on the train. And it's snowing, they're on this high-speed train. That was just such a good, action-packed, really good scene that was just kind of you've just seen him kicking ass. And it was great. And I think that's where he loses Bucky, actually, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think Bucky falls... I can't remember. But, yeah, I think that, for me, was a real big hit-in. Now, are there any scenes that jump out from you? I've just had a thought now about a scene that jumps out at me as being one of the best in the whole MCU.
Right.
Civil War, where you've got that kind of wide-angled shot of Bucky, Captain America, and Iron Man fighting, and Iron Man's wailing on them both, but he's losing because there's 2v1. Yeah, that scene, just the whole thing. I was watching it, being oh my, because you're it's 2v1, he's going to lose, but he does have a suit of armor, so and he's holding his own.
Where they're bouncing the captain's shield off of him to the other one.
And you're thinking, when I was watching it, I was thinking, had that have been Captain America and Hawkeye fighting Iron Man, they'd have probably lost. But because Bucky and him were so in sync, it was just cinematic genius. The choreography in it was wicked. It was just one of them scenes that you can watch 10 times and just be like, whoa, that is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually there's a lot of Iron Man's snap scenes out of nowhere. I can't remember which film it's in, but Tony Stark is trying to get out of somewhere, and the only bit of his suit he has is his hand.
Yes, it's. I think it's in.
See, when he runs into Bucky, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's in Civil War, and he basically grabs the gun with the Iron Man, because it comes out of his watch.
The shock on his
face. It's you actually tried to kill me. Yeah.
That. There was just a few moments in all of the films like that.
I think, just off the top of my head, I believe it's right at the beginning of Civil War, and it's because Civil War is over the Sokovia Agreements, isn't it? The Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
And I think it's when that situation was going on that they end up, Scarlet Witch ends up blowing the side off the building. I think it's part of that chunk, but I could be wrong.
I can't remember. All right. Any other things that point out as really good moments to you? I'm just thinking now. I think there's a couple for me. Is the first proper look at Wakanda. Proper look, not any of the after credit scenes, but the bits where he points out a bit where you finally get to have a look at it in Black Panther. That was wicked. Doctor Strange, when the first kind of bit where he goes into his out of body experience, where she knocks his astro form out of his body.
Yeah,
that was such a good section. I was just so kind of
yeah, and the fact they went all in on the weird with Doctor Strange, he was flying through these psychedelic kind of realms.
But I think also, I mean, the choice of characters. Is there anyone that you think didn't quite fit their character?
They didn't cast the right person.
Yeah, because I'm thinking now, like, I thought, as much as I want to see more of Black Panther as a character, I think he's the most underdeveloped hero because he's very much Wakanda. I actually thought in Black Panther the person they cast, so the villain in that film was a more developed than the main character.
Yeah,
I thought he was great.
Killmonger.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I thought Doctor Strange brilliantly cast. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the times when they were announced, there was probably some of them, like when they first announced the Hulk with Mark Ruffalo. I was like, what?
Really?
What?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, at the time, I thought, Edward Norton hadn't done a bad job.
Yeah. So the only ones for me, and they're kind of minor-ish characters, and one of them they fixed anyway, which was in the original Iron Man. I didn't really like Terrence Howard as Rhodey, but then he was replaced anyway with Don Cheadle, because of a big falling out, apparently because RDJ wanted more money, so they had to take it out of the Rhodey budget, from the rumours that I've heard. And then the other one, which is more of a waste, potentially, is Idris Elba. Putting him in as Heimdall, is it?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
he could have been such an awesome character. Like, he could have been one of the elders in Black Panther or something like that, and had this real kind of fatherly thing. Whereas he's just kind of is a bouncer.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The scenes when he appears, his presence on screen,
he's fabulous as in his
unreal.
role. But
I think we all would have liked. I think he played Heimdall well. I think the issue with for me personally, was that there wasn't enough Heimdall.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have wanted to see him as a different character because I think he did so well as that character. And I think without him in that role, that could have become a character that was just forgotten about.
But then
Heimdall would have been such a secondary character.
Yeah, was it Infinity War that he snuffed it? I think it was later in Infinity War, wasn't it? I think Thanos took him out there. Because I think he was leading some of the guys after Ragnarok. Yeah, it's so hard because there's so many movies so close together now. Like, I'm just looking from 2016 to 2018. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
No doubt there's going to be people watching this being like, "You two are idiots."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's okay.
But if we have got anything wrong, as usual, hit us up in the comments. Tell us where we were wrong, and we'll probably ignore it and be wrong again.
Anything from the films that they did that you were a bit? Cause there was one thing that I wasn't sure of.
Okay.
And you might disagree. In Doctor Strange, when his cape became his cape was sentient and
its own character.
It just reminded me constantly of Aladdin.
Yes, I was about to say that. It's Aladdin's magic carpet.
Yeah, because it had the same personality.
Yeah.
And they must have taken influence from.
To be honest, that's just how fabric acts, though. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
It's the same actor. He's been typecast.
He's had a complete change of look for this. Yeah. And there were bits like later on the cape saves him, but then I don't know. I just kind of thought it's a sentient cape, but then after that film, forgotten about.
It did some work at the beginning of Infinity War when they were fighting with Tony. When they got Tony and the kind of bodyguards of Thanos come down in New York, it is trying to fight off the thing to keep the Infinity Stone. Okay. To keep the Time Stone. Yeah, it gets another little go there.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure. Like, I kind of loved it, kind of thought.
Yeah, I think it also
could have been done better.
I think it also features when they're fighting on Titan at the end of Infinity War.
I think if they had used a similar mechanism to that, but in Ant-Man, it would have hit better. I think Paul Rudd's character and timing would have been able to respond to something that made no sense better.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Doctor Strange kind of brushed it off as this is nothing kind of thing. I don't think it meshed well with his character's personality. Like when he's got it on and it starts touching his face and he just kind of, I don't know. You can just see Paul Rudd doing that and it being funny. But when he did it, he was just kind of oh, look, it's moving.
Yeah.
It's like we've just seen it move a lot.
Okay. Right. I think we're done here. Right. I want to ask you one more thing, though. There has been rumours that have been going around at the moment about Keanu Reeves joining the MCU in the Eternals. As one of the Eternals. I want to know your take on this because I think he could be other characters quite easily. I think he would make an amazing Ghost Rider potentially. Or if they are going to ignore what happened with the Netflix stuff, which I'm not sure if they're going to do or not. Having watched John Wick, he's the Punisher. Like he would make an amazing Punisher.
I don't know about Punisher.
It's a very different style of Punisher, but
do you see him? I see him as some form of evil character. Like that's why I think you're going down the Ghost Rider Punisher route, who's kind of doesn't care, is lone wolf style kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see him as a mythical character. I definitely see him as an earth-bound character, and I definitely see him hurting people. I think now this is just spitball, and I don't know where they're going to go with the Black Widow films and what they're going to do. Like I think there's a couple of them planned in. I see him being some kind of either mentor slash anti-hero with her. Like I very much see some kind of that because I could just imagine him being the one who obviously he's got this massive connotation with like martial arts and stuff now, hasn't he? I just see him being that. Maybe it's like I wouldn't want to say love interest in any kind of way, but some kind of anti-villain slash mentor to her in the films, because I think that could be really well. And they're two powerful like Hollywood names to fight each other.
Yeah.
That I could see happening. I think that fight scene would be wicked, especially if it's the kind of like sensei who she can't beat finds out he's evil twist.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's wrap this video up because I think we've got to about 25 minutes. Guys, if you disagree with what we've said in the comments, that's absolutely fine. You are probably wrong, but we're okay with that. So let us know in the comments what you thought of our picks, our highlights and lowlights, and yours in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell to find out when we are posting more stuff. And I think we should do next a dream casting for rebooted X-Men because they are going to be disappearing soon.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good video. So also let us know your dream cast for the X-Men in the comments. I've been David Eden-Sangwell. He has been
Samuel David Boulton.
And we will catch you on the next Booze and Bazinga. Welcome to Booze and Bazinga Series 2, Episode 1. No, Episode 2. We'll start that again.